if you watched the last video, you saw that we were talking about the evil foods, the forbidden foods, the foods that we all like to put in food jail: coffee, carbs, and cake, or sugar. But sugar doesn't have the alliteration that cake does. So if you are struggling with hormone imbalance, if you are heading into perimenopause, or maybe deep in the thick of it, maybe you have recently been diagnosed with Hashimoto's, or you're struggling with, like a low thyroid or PCOS, or maybe more than one of these things. You've probably been told you can't have coffee. Coffee's evil. It's going to make everything worse. You've probably been told that you need to go on a carb-free diet. And it's more than likely that if you have any of these conditions, any hormone imbalance whatsoever, or if you're just a person who happens to scroll through Instagram or any of the socials, late at night when you're supposed to be sleeping, you might have been told that sugar is the absolute worst thing you can eat. So the good news is that that's not necessarily the whole truth. The good news is that with a little bit of planning and a little bit of detective work, you can figure out where you might have gone wrong with these things and how you can work them back in. So let's start with caffeine. Caffeine and coffee. I talked about it in the last video, how there are a lot of benefits from, your mental capacity to liver and your heart, even sports performance, right? All of these things sometimes we want. Now, what is too much? Well, too much is if you're feeling jittery, or if you're, feeling kind of that, I call it stomach rot, right? From too much coffee. Or if it's a crutch for you to get through your day and you're using it instead of food that would have a better nutritional value for you, right? So if you're drinking coffee instead of water, you're gonna end up dehydrated at the end of the day. But if you know that about 2 cups of coffee, so up to about 24 ounces of coffee is actually quote unquote good for you, and it's certainly going to do no more harm, then now you have a goal. And you can look at, okay, why am I going on to that 3rd cup? Is it just because I'm used to buying the jumbo extra large? Or is it because I'm using it to fill space in my day? So looking at why you're overdoing and seeing what you can do to maybe back it off. Maybe for that 3rd cup of coffee, now you're just dehydrated and that's why you're tired. So get some water in you. Okay, same thing. Carbs are not the enemy, but let's make them more complex carbs. Let's choose carbs that are going to give you some kind of benefit instead of just being energy, which is a great thing about carbs. They give us quick energy. It's really usable. It's generally, pretty cheap as far as groceries go to buy things like carby foods, right? Potatoes, pretty inexpensive. Quinoa, a little bit more expensive. But if you're using these more complex carbs, you don't need as much of them and you're going to get so many more benefits to them. So go ahead and have your carbs, have your coffee, and even have the sugar. Now, what's the deal with sugar? When you're eating foods that have sugar in them, whether it's cupcakes, cookies, or a beverage, look at how that fits in your whole day, okay? Are you going to that food because it's very comforting? We see that a lot. Are you using that because it's just the way it's always been and you don't know another way, right? So maybe you grew up getting cookies and milk after work or after school, and now that's part of your after work habit. Because you just don't know any different. You haven't tried any different. You haven't tried maybe some carrot sticks and hummus or apples with peanut butter. Maybe you haven't tried those things. So maybe doing something a little bit differently and seeing if it works, seeing if it serves you. You know that it's a problem when it is a lot in your day. If you're looking at the day and you have more coffee foods, more caffeine, and you have more carbs and a lot of sugar, but you have maybe only 1 vegetable and 1 fruit, then you're missing the value in that food in place of these other foods. Okay, see where I'm going with this? So if you want to keep those foods, then it takes a little bit of detective work. Now, every single person is different, and this is why the blanket statement, you should never drink caffeine, is not good for you. This is why everybody has to have carbs is a bad way of thinking, because every single person has a different history. You have different DNA, you have a different environment that you live in, and your health history is much different. So you need to dig into your personal, your very unique situation and make your own kind of decisions based on what you find there. Which of course is the value of working with somebody who kind of knows what to look for and knows what direction to take you in. So before you get overwhelmed or frustrated feeling like I can't ever go out with my friends because I can't have carbs, I can't have sugar, I can't have caffeine, I can't have this, I can't have that, think about what do you need? What is the thing that you need more of in your life? And what are you doing that is maybe making your symptoms worse? Because nobody likes to have brain fog. Hot flashes are no fun. PMS is the worst. But if you give up all of the foods that give you the joy, then is it really worth it in the long run? I'm here to say, no, probably not. It's probably not worth it. So that is all I have for today. If you are struggling with PMS, PMDD, PCOS, any hormone imbalance, and you're thinking that maybe one of these things, one of these forbidden foods is making it worse or causing what you've got going on, I suggest going on a little detective journey, maybe keeping track with a food journal, noticing when you're eating these foods, notice if you're relying on them as a crutch, and then going ahead and maybe taking a small tweak in one direction or another. Maybe you take it back to 1 cup of coffee and see if you survive the day. If you survive the day, then you know, cool, 1 cup of coffee is probably going to be okay. So you can rest assured that these forbidden foods are not going to land you in food jail. You just have to negotiate exactly what works for you, how much is going to be your ideal, and working to stay within that. That's all I have. I hope this was super helpful, you guys. Check back again next week. Make sure that you subscribe and hit the little bell so that you know when new videos come up, and you can work on hormone balance. You can work on that mind-body connection along with me. I'm here to help you find your unique way to be mindfully balanced. I'll see you next time.